That's the usual thing with negotiations. You start with the sun, but you could do with the moon or less, or the clouds. Some of the things, as you know, are difficult. Some of the demands, even if they were to be met, it can't be immediate. So, but it's normal for people to make hard demands, for people to harden their positions. But in the process of negotiations, positions begin to change, demands become less, and so on and so forth. Yeah. There is a lot you can do, but it may not be necessary. Neither may it actually work. Sometimes so much water under the bridge has passed. And, I don't know whether that is even necessary. I think the country is past that. But demands will be made. Some of them, they can't be met. I think the country will need to look more comprehensively at our electoral infrastructure, even beyond the IBC. So trying to concentrate on IBC and going as low as talking about 4 commissioners, I think that's, to me, that's neither here nor there. There are bigger issues to deal with. Yeah. Both Ruto and his deputy were maintaining hardline stance. But as president, you see a little faster than the other person. Secondly, when pressure is brought, it's brought on the president and not on the deputy president. So they might have shared the same thinking and had the same hardline positions. But you see, as the president, you begin to see things from State House, not from Karen. But more importantly, those who are pushing you to climb down don't necessarily talk to your deputy, they talk to you. Yeah. So if it's cracking, it's you who cracks, not the deputy. Normally. When you put something in a jar, it expels what was there, even if that is air. You know that, eh? So certainly the coming closer, the coming together of Ruto and Raila will affect other players, both negatively and positively. As Raila and Ruto become closer and closer, the distance between Rigathi Gachagua and Ruto will become more and more distant. They become less and less together as, of course, Ruto and Raila become closer. It's normal. It's just how the world works. Demonstrations are over. They are over because for 2 reasons. One, before they got where they got yesterday, they must have said something behind the doors, behind the tents. So they already know what can be and what cannot be achieved. The rest is playing to the gallery. They already know. So these talks cannot break. Secondly, Raila may be a very powerful politician and very attractive, but to the extent that people are very disappointed today, it will not be very easy again to bring them back to the streets. As powerful as he is, I think people are not happy with this ceasefire, mainly because it has not been explained well. They have not mainstreamed the people. And if they have, we have not been told how. It's not been even stated. So to get the people again out to demonstrate may not be very easy. Of course, Raila is a magician kind of politician, but under normal circumstances, it will be very difficult for him to whip people again back to the streets. There's going to be a much more bigger handshake than we have ever had in the history of this country. It's going to be the biggest handshake. Bigger than Moi and Raila, bigger than Kibaki and Raila, bigger than Raila and Uhuru. Bigger handshake. Sooner than before. And it will not even be announced. People just slide into it. It will just happen. It's a natural development. They will have been relegated to the back benches. In other words, they will cease to matter in Kenyan politics. But again, like Ruto proved, you can also wriggle out of it yourself. But naturally, they'll become less and less relevant. And by the time the handshake is happening, they are completely irrelevant. Bipartisanism was with regards to the IBC formation, which to me is a Tiny little thing. People could not have gone to the streets and fought and died and bled and lost property over such a small minor issue. This is an inconsequential thing. I've said before. But that's what they talk about. Well, that's what they mean by partisan, by partisanism. However, it may be extended to mean that the country will engage at a higher level in terms of perhaps a national conference, perhaps in terms of another bomb mass, perhaps in terms of constitutional amendments. That could be a better way of looking at things. Kenyan politicians are funny. That's how it comes out now. It comes out it was not a major issue to him because so far it has not figured prominently. What is figuring prominently is their own issues of politics. So even if it's at the level of just packaging, I don't think they have packaged it well. I think the PR part of it was really poor. Whether they met physically or not, but they must have talked. You can see if you follow the media appearance of Ruto and Raila Odinga, you can quickly see there was already evidence that some things have been done already, but they are not being tabled in the press conference. I mean, in the media briefing. Yeah. So it means these two gentlemen had already interacted. The country was getting into anarchy. And if there's anarchy, people like Uhuru Kenyatta will lose the most. So it's more about their own interest, actually, at the end of the day. Because you can imagine the investment they have in this country. It will go to waste. I tell them to be honest in their dealings, period, and to put the people of this country first. And to know that they run the danger of losing the people. Because the people can begin to see that these politicians are taking us for granted. And when that position is reached by the people, it can be very dangerous. I don't see losers and winners. So long as the people of this country don't benefit, both of them have lost. And so long as the people of this country benefit, both of them have won and they have benefited. It's not a question of losers. For them, if they make this thing their own thing, they will lose. If they make it a deal between Raila and Ruto, they will lose. Because this thing can only succeed if the people of this country are gaining. And that's why I said the way what came out of the press briefings, media briefing from both, was fairly unfortunate. Because people don't seem to feature so prominently. Yeah, and that would be very dangerous for them. Because the people can decide to do this thing on their own and deal with them, the two of them, very easily. Yeah. People have realized the power they have. So they can tell Raila go to hell and tell Ruto go to hell. I don't think Kenyans are happy with the handshake. When I said there will be a bigger handshake, I didn't mean the handshake in the manner in which these others have happened. I just meant people working together. In a way they never worked together before. But if Raila were to go into a handshake in the simple understanding of the handshakes we have had before, he will end his political career very badly because people write him off. I'm sure they are aware they should work for the people. If they are not aware, the people will wake them up. And moreover, if they go to bed, the two of them, there will be a very vibrant opposition from both sides that don't agree with this thinking. There will be people from Azimio who will not agree with Raila going to bed with Ruto. And they will speak out. And there will be much louder voices from the Kenya Kwanza side if Ruto decides that he can only work with Raila. And then the people of Kenya have found their voice as evidenced by the demonstrations. So if they think they can work the two of them together, they must be told that is illusion. Yes, it's illusionary.